It was a strange paradox. The more money Hannah made, the more destitute and miserable her life seemed to become. She let out a deep sigh as she opened the door to a nearly empty refrigerator. Inside, the groceries she had stocked just days ago had vanished, leaving only a half-empty jar of pickles and a wilting head of lettuce. She couldn't understand it. Just yesterday, she had been at Costco, her shopping cart overflowing. Where had all that steak and fresh fruit gone? Hannah checked her stock trading account on her phone. The numbers on the screen showed her profits had grown by another $10,000 since yesterday. Yet the reality of her increasingly bleak dinner table felt like a cruel joke. "This is so weird," she muttered to herself, rummaging through the fridge. "I'm sure I bought a ribeye and some shrimp. Where did it all go?" Just then, her phone vibrated violently in her pocket, signaling a text message. It was a credit card alert. "Charge approved. $453 at the Sharper Image for your monthly massage chair lease payment." Hannah's eyes trembled as she stared at the screen. A massage chair? She had never even browsed for such an expensive appliance. From the living room, her husband Michael's carefree voice drifted in. "Hey, honey, what's for dinner? I had a really tough day at work. Anything good?" Suppressing a surge of anger, Hannah walked into the living room where Michael was untying his tie. "We're having spaghetti," she said coldly, holding up her phone. "But Michael, what is this text? Why is a massage chair lease being charged to my card?" Michael, in full post-work relaxation mode, tossed his tie on a chair and plopped down at the dining table. He completely ignored her question, launching into a story about how his boss had praised his sales numbers. "The regional manager told me today that I'm a shoo-in for top performer this quarter. I might be getting that promotion soon." He then looked at the simple table setting with disdain. "But honey, what's with the food lately? A guy works hard all day. He should come home to a decent meal. It's always spaghetti or mac and cheese. It's not like we're broke." He added, "Didn't you say you made a killing in the market?" At that, Hannah slammed the ladle she was holding into the sink with a loud clang. "What's the point of me making money if it's just draining into a bottomless pit? Just answer my question. Did you buy a massage chair?" Michael's expression soured, his voice rising in defiance. "What's the big deal? I didn't buy it for me. I had it delivered to my mom's house. I'm trying to be a good son. Is that such a crime? You're always willing to do things for your parents, but you can't stand me doing this one little thing for my mom? Why are you so selfish?" "My parents? My mom is the one who sends us homemade casseroles because she worries I'm working too hard. And you? You make a huge purchase like this on my card without even talking to me about it. Is $450 a joke to you?" Michael slammed his fist on the table, his face red. "Have you lost your mind? What is there to discuss between a husband and wife? My credit cards are maxed out, so I couldn't use them. I told you I'd pay you back when I get my bonus. Why are you nagging me like this? You're really making me lose my affection for you." A suffocating silence hung over the dinner table for the rest of the meal. Hannah felt like she couldn't swallow a single bite. As she was about to start the dishes, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was for a water filtration system rental. Wiping her wet hands, she stormed into the living room and shoved the phone in Michael's face. "And what is this? $270 for a water system? We already have a perfectly good filter. Where did this charge come from?" Michael, engrossed in his tablet, yawned without looking up. "Oh, that? My mom's arthritis has been acting up, and I read that alkaline water is good for bone health, so I got one for her. What's wrong with being a good son? You won't do it, so I have to." "I won't do it? I paid for your father's entire funeral last month, and you bought your sister that designer handbag with my card. Why are you using my credit card for everything without my permission?" As Hannah's voice rose, Michael shouted back even louder. "What permission? We're married. Stop making a big deal out of nothing." That night, Hannah couldn't sleep. As her husband snored peacefully beside her, she slipped out of bed and went to the home office. Turning on the computer, she began to dig through the last few months of her credit card statements. The numbers that appeared on the screen were utterly shocking. Massage chair lease, $453. Health supplement auto shipment, $380. And this, a charge from Nordstrom for $2,500. As she scrolled further down, she found another entry that made her blood run cold. A transaction at a high-end designer boutique. Just then, Michael appeared, bleary-eyed, at the office door. "What are you doing up? Your typing is so loud. You're keeping me awake." Hannah pointed a trembling finger at the monitor. "This handbag. Who is this for?" "For my birthday. You gave me a cheap bouquet from the grocery store, but you spent $2,500 on this. Michael's initial surprise quickly morphed into brazen nonchalance. Oh, that. It was for Megan's birthday, a while back. I was just being a good big brother. As her sister-in-law, you should be fine with that, right? Megan loves luxury stuff. You think she's like you, satisfied with a bunch of flowers? If your sister loves designer bags, she can buy them with her own money. Why are you using my money to show off? And this massage chair, why is the contract for 60 months? The total comes out to over $27,000. Hannah's voice was ice, but Michael remained defiant. I told you, Mom's arthritis is bad. If you pay it off over 5 years, it's not that much money. It's pocket change compared to what you're making in the stock market. Why are you trying to make me feel so pathetic? Are you looking down on me just because you're making some money? I'm not looking down on you. You're the one treating me like an ATM. Why don't you use your own card for these things? Finally, Michael revealed his true colors. I've told you a dozen times, my cards are maxed out. I use them to take care of my family and for my work expenses. Your card has a high limit, so I used it a little. Is it really worth all this drama? You're being so disgustingly cheap. Hannah collapsed into the chair. She secretly checked Michael's credit history and saw it was a disaster, filled with charges for nights out with friends and bailing out his family members. This wasn't just a financial disagreement. Her husband and his family were systematically conspiring to bleed her dry, siphoning off the fruits of her hard work. Clenching her trembling fists, Hannah made a decision. Fine, she whispered to the empty room. Let's see how this ends. I'll show you exactly what happens when you disrespect my money. A cold, determined fire lit up in Hannah's eyes. The prelude to her revenge had just begun. The next morning, the air in the house was even colder than the night before. Michael, acting as if nothing had happened, spoke to her cheerfully over breakfast. Hey, let's stop by my mom's place today. She made a big batch of her famous chili and wants us to pick some up. You love her chili, right? Hannah paused, her hands in the dishwater. The mere mention of her in-laws made her stomach clench, but she couldn't find a good excuse to refuse her mother-in-law's direct invitation. Okay, she replied curtly, her mind already racing with a different plan. Around 2 p.m., as they pulled up to her in-laws' suburban home, Hannah couldn't believe her eyes. Stacked by the front door was a mountain of delivery boxes, piled as high as a person. It looked more like a distribution warehouse than a front porch. Just then, her mother-in-law, Susan, threw open the door with a wide, welcoming smile. Oh, Hannah, you're here. Come on in. Michael is just parking the car. Forcing a smile, Hannah stepped inside, but her eyes were drawn to the shipping labels on the boxes. The dates printed on them were chillingly clear. December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It felt like a punch to the gut. Her stock earnings were deposited into her account on December 2nd. Susan, what's with all the packages? Hannah asked, her voice cold. I could barely get to the door. What is all this? Susan waved her hand dismissively, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Oh, that. I saw a fantastic deal on a new set of premium bedding on QVC. It's normally over $3,000, but they had a special for only $1,800. I just had to get it. It's like I made money, don't you think? Hannah stared at the boxes, flabbergasted. You think spending $1,800 is making money? You think that's a good deal? Of course. It was a $3,000 set. You're always so nitpicky, Susan said, turning and walking into the living room. Hannah carefully set down the box she was holding, her mind doing the math. It didn't matter what the discount was. $1,800 had still come out of her pocket. In the living room, her sister-in-law, Megan, was lounging arrogantly on the sofa, scrolling through her phone. Resting on her lap was the very $2,500 designer handbag charged to Hannah's card. Oh, hey, you're here, Megan said without looking up. If you came for the chili, you're out of luck. Mom already gave most of it away to the neighbors. There's barely any left for us. Just say hi to Michael and head out. Hannah let out a disbelieving laugh. They invite her over for chili, only to tell her there's none left? It was obvious there was another motive. Just then, Michael walked in. Mom, I'm here. Wow, something smells amazing. Oh, my boy, you're here. Come on in. Are you hungry? I made your favorite pot roast. Sit down at the table. Susan's voice was filled with a warmth that was starkly different from how she spoke to Hannah. Michael eagerly went to the dining table, and Hannah followed, her eyes scanning the kitchen. Lined up on the counter were boxes of high-end health supplements, ginseng extract, royal jelly, premium omega, 3S, all premium products, totaling well over $1,000. Wow, Susan, you're taking a lot of supplements. Did you buy all of these recently? Hannah asked. Susan patted one of the boxes proudly. They say this stuff works wonders. My knee pain completely disappeared after I started taking them. I told Megan they were great for her skin, so I gave her a few boxes. You should take some too, Michael. Mom, seriously, my skin has gotten so much better since I started these. Megan chimed in smugly. All my friends are asking me what I use. I guess you really get what you pay for. Hannah casually glanced at the back of a box. In fine print, she saw the words, monthly auto shipment, $380. Susan, did you sign up for a monthly subscription? Yes. They said it's cheaper than ordering it each time. And since I'll be taking it for the rest of my life, it's better to save money, right? Susan said nonchalantly, placing a large piece of roast on Michael's plate. Hannah couldn't hold it in any longer. But Susan, are you aware that all of this is being charged to my credit card? Without my consent. Instantly, all sound in the room ceased. An icy silence fell. Susan slammed her fork down, her face hardening as she stared at Hannah. What are you talking about? It's a daughter-in-law's duty to take care of her mother-in-law's health. Are you seriously trying to lord a few dollars over me? Do you think you can disrespect me just because you make a little money? It's not a duty. It's my hard-earned money. Why are you using my card without my permission? Hannah retorted firmly. Megan jumped in with a sneer. Wow, Hannah, you're unbelievable. After all the sacrifices my mom made to raise Michael, she deserves to be treated like this. How can you, as her daughter-in-law, say something so heartless? Deserves it? If you feel so strongly about what she deserves, then you can pay for it with your card. Why are you playing the role of the devoted daughter with my money? As Hannah's sharp words hit their mark, Megan's face turned red, and she was left speechless. Michael quickly intervened, grabbing Hannah's arm. Hannah, that's enough. Don't embarrass us in front of my mom. We can talk about this at home. Embarrass you? Who's embarrassing whom? You told your mother and sister that my stock earnings get paid out on the 2nd of every month, didn't you? That's why they planned their shopping sprees around that date. Hannah pulled out her phone and started taking pictures of the shipping labels. Susan's face went pale. What? What are you talking about? I never paid attention to that. It's just a coincidence. A coincidence? December 3rd, November 3rd, October 3rd. How is it that a flood of packages arrives the day after my money comes in, every single month? You call that a coincidence? Hannah shoved the phone screen in Susan's face. Susan turned her head away, shouting, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. What do I care how much you make from stocks? If you don't care, then why are you using my credit card? You either heard it from Michael or Megan. You're all in on this together. Faced with Hannah's fury, Megan avoided her gaze and mumbled, I really didn't know. Michael just said it was okay to buy stuff. You didn't know? Then what about the text messages in the family group chat where you ask Michael every month? Hey, how much did Hannah make this month? I saw everything. Hannah's revelation threw the room into chaos. Susan suddenly clutched her chest, pretending to collapse onto the sofa, while Michael forcibly pushed Hannah toward the front door. Are you crazy? If something happens to my mom, are you going to take responsibility? Get out now. Responsibility? You should take responsibility for ruining my life. From now on, you won't touch another penny of my money. Hannah shook off Michael's hand and stormed out of the house. That night, back in her own home, Hannah opened the safe in her office. She took out all her bank books and cards, examining each one as she swallowed back cold tears. Never again, she vowed. You will reap exactly what you have sown. Hannah placed the documents deep inside the safe and set a new combination, a code Michael could never guess, one known only to her. The real war was just beginning. A week passed, but the Cold War with her in-laws showed no signs of thawing. Then, one afternoon, a call came from her mother-in-law, Susan. Just seeing mother-in-law on the screen made Hannah's stomach churn. Hannah, Susan's voice was clipped and commanding. Come to our house for dinner tonight. I've already told Michael to come with you. Before Hannah could respond, the line went dead. It was a summons, not an invitation, leaving no room for refusal. With a heavy sigh, Hannah told Michael about the call when he got home from work. He seemed relieved. See, she's calling you first, so she must have cooled down. You should go over there and act a little sweet tonight. Okay? I'll head over right after work. At 6 p.m., they arrived at her in-laws' house, to a dining table laden with an extravagant feast. From tenderly braised short ribs and abalone porridge to sweet and savory marinated galbi, the spread was more lavish than any holiday meal they'd ever had. Wow, Susan, what's the occasion? You've prepared so much, Hannah said, surprised. Susan, unusually, smiled graciously. It's nothing. I just missed my daughter-in-law's face and wanted to put in a little effort. Come, sit down. Her sister-in-law, Megan, was already at the table. A brand-new designer bag, clearly worth upwards of $4,000, was casually placed on the chair next to her. Hey, Hannah. Long time no see. Michael. Sit down. The ribs are amazing. As the meal began, Susan focused all her attention on her son, piling food onto his plate. Michael, try this. I bought the best cut just for you. You work so hard. Michael, beaming, gave his mother a thumbs up. But for Hannah, the magnificent food felt like thorns in her throat. She could barely bring herself to lift her chopsticks. Halfway through the meal, she gathered her courage and spoke up. Susan, I'm sorry to bring this up during dinner, but there's something I need to say. Susan, chewing her food, simply raised an eyebrow, her expression instantly turning cold. Susan, from now on, I need you to consult with me before making any large purchases. Ultimately, the money is coming from my account, and I have my own financial plans. It's difficult for me when large, unexpected sums are withdrawn. The air at the table froze. Megan slammed her chopsticks down, and Michael, who had been lifting a bowl of soup to his lips, froze mid-action. Susan stared at Hannah in silence for a long moment before slowly picking up another piece of food. Her silence was a clear, deliberate act of dismissal. Susan, are you listening to me? Hannah pressed, her voice firmer. Susan continued to ignore her, methodically chewing her food. Megan, unable to stand it, spoke first with a sneer. Hannah, can't you read the room? Mom went to all this trouble to cook for you, and you have to bring up money right now? You could have talked to Michael about it later. And when would later be? If I keep putting this off, I'll be drowning in debt under my own name. Megan, you bought that bag with my card, didn't you? At Hannah's directness, Michael panicked and nudged her in the ribs. Hey, are you crazy? Why are you doing this here? Let's just eat and talk later. But Hannah pushed his hand away, glaring at him. Why? Why do I have to pick a time and place to talk about managing my own money? Your mother certainly didn't care about time or place when she was spending it. Suddenly, Susan threw her chopsticks onto the table with a loud clatter. Yes, I spent some of your money. Is that a crime punishable by death? Just because you brought in some money, you're treating your mother-in-law like a thief? How dare you look at me like that? I'm not treating you like a thief. I'm stating a fact. Using my card without my consent is wrong. It's my money. My money that I earned by staying up all night studying the stock market. Susan snorted and shot up from her seat. Your money? And in whose house are you eating this food? This house, this food. It's all maintained by the money my son brings home. How dare you act like you own the place? Don't be mistaken, Susan. This house is in my name. Did you not know that Michael's salary barely covers the property taxes on this condo? I've been paying the mortgage and covering all of your living expenses with the money I've earned. Hannah's bombshell revelation made Susan stagger back, clutching her chest. Megan rushed to support her, glaring daggers at Hannah. Hannah, what did you just say to my mother? Her house? How can you say that when Michael is right here? What kind of upbringing did you have? My upbringing? I'd say my upbringing is 100 times better than one that teaches you to carry a designer bag bought by mooching off someone else. I'm hurt too. It's chilling how you all think it's your right to spend my money without so much as a single thank you. Overcome with rage, Susan pointed a trembling finger toward the front door. You disrespectful thing. Get out. Get out of my house and away from my son. Your money? Fine. Take your filthy money and get out of my sight. Mom, Hannah's just a little upset. She doesn't mean it, Michael pleaded, trying to calm his mother down. But Hannah had already made up her mind. She calmly put on her shoes. Oh, no, Susan. I mean every word. As you wish, I'll leave. But be warned. The moment I walk out that door, all the money stops. The massage chair lease, the supplement subscription, the water filter, and all the credit cards. Without looking back, Hannah opened the door. She could hear Susan screaming behind her. You just wait. You think I'll let you get away with this? But Hannah's steps felt lighter than they had in years. The night air was cold, but a fire was burning in her heart. "I'll show you what hell really is," she whispered into the darkness. "Let's see what happens to you when the money you love so much disappears." Hannah vanished into the night with a cold smile. The clock of her revenge had just started ticking. After storming out of her in-laws' house, Hannah became a ghost in her own home. No matter what her husband Michael said or how he complained, she responded with robotic, one-word answers. Yes, no, or okay. Michael, misinterpreting her silence as surrender, seemed relieved. He believed he had finally broken her spirit. "Honey, what's for dinner tonight? I'm feeling a little run down. I made some chili. It's on the table." "Great, thanks. And hey, you should give Mom a call tomorrow. She's been really down lately. If you just apologize nicely, everything will be fine. Got it?" "Okay, I'll do that." Satisfied, Michael chuckled and sprawled out on the living room sofa to watch TV. Hannah turned off the kitchen light, her eyes fixed on his back with a cold, piercing gaze. A scornful smile played on her lips. "Go ahead. Enjoy your delusion of peace while it lasts." Hannah quietly slipped into her home office and locked the door. She booted up the computer and logged into her online banking. The list of automatic payments was a grotesque spectacle. The massage chair lease, the water filtration system, and monthly subscriptions to expensive, unheard-of health supplements. Without a moment's hesitation, she clicked on each one and hit cancel. In the reason for cancellation field, she typed the same thing for each: unauthorized contract and fraudulent charges made without the account holder's consent. Her next step was to fortify her defenses. She revoked the shared access to all her financial accounts that Michael had, deleted their joint digital certificates, and issued new ones accessible only to her. She changed every password to a complex combination Michael could never guess. From saved credit card information on shopping websites to payment methods on food delivery apps, she methodically erased every trace of her financial presence that he could access. "Now, only I can see my money. I've personally sealed the hole you were all sucking from." Every night, while Michael slept, Hannah began to pack. To avoid suspicion, she started with the clothes hidden in the back of her closet. Her expensive cosmetics, the jewelry she'd cherished since before her marriage, and her collection of books on stock trading all went into boxes. Each morning, on her way to work, she would transfer a box to the trunk of her car. Michael remained completely oblivious. He came home to a clean house and a prepared dinner, believing Hannah was still under his control. Then, one evening, he brought it up casually over dinner. "Honey, it's the weekend. Let's go to my mom's. She said she misses you. We can apologize and pick up some of her chili." Without pausing her meal, Hannah answered flatly, "I'm not going. You can go by yourself. What's your problem now? Are you still holding a grudge?" Mom had a few days to think it over, and she told me she felt bad about being so harsh. That's basically an apology. For the first time in days, Hannah looked up and met Michael's eyes. Her gaze was so cold it made him swallow nervously. Felt bad? Regret? If she was truly sorry, why isn't there a single text from her on my phone? An apology should come directly from her, not be relayed through you. Come on, she's an elder. She has her pride. How can she call you first? You need to set the stage for her to apologize. "I'm not going. I'll accept an apology directly, whether by text or a phone call. Until then, I have no intention of seeing any of your family." Michael sighed in frustration and pushed his plate away. "Fine. You're so stubborn. I'll go by myself and explain things, but don't you dare change your mind later." The next morning, as soon as Michael left for his parents' house, Hannah sprang into action. Her first target was the enormous massage chair dominating their living room. She called the rental company and spoke with firm authority. "I am requesting an immediate retrieval of the massage chair in my home. My husband signed the contract without my consent, and I have no intention of continuing the lease. A cancellation fee. I suggest you retrieve it quietly before I file a police report for identity theft and forgery." The customer service representative, though initially flustered, quickly scheduled a pickup time in the face of the account holder's adamant demand. The high-end water filtration system in the kitchen followed the same fate. One by one, Hannah called and canceled every rental appliance tied to her credit card, from the air purifier to the mattress care service. The most critical cancellations were for the items installed at her in-laws' house, the massage chair, and the alkaline water system Susan had bragged so much about. Hannah gave the customer service agent her in-laws' address and completed the retrieval request. "Please have your team visit next Monday morning to remove everything." The contract has been terminated by the primary account holder, so you are authorized to retrieve the items even if they object. Hannah jotted down the date on a memo pad and then circled it in red on her calendar. Next Tuesday, moving day. She had already secured a clean, modern studio apartment in her name near her office. From the security deposit to the broker's fee, she had paid for it entirely with her own stock market profits, without a cent of Michael's help. It was a space that was completely and utterly hers. On Friday afternoon, the rental company movers arrived. As the massage chair was wheeled out of the living room and the water filter was uninstalled from the kitchen, the house felt eerily empty. When Michael returned from work, he stopped dead in the doorway and screamed, "What the hell? Where's the massage chair? Why is the water filter gone? Did we get robbed?" From the kitchen, where she was calmly chopping vegetables, Hannah replied, "Robbed? No. I had them retrieved. They were in my name, so I did as I pleased." "Retrieved? Are you out of your mind? Why would you get rid of things we were using?" "You mean things you put in here without my permission? Using my name? The ones at your parents' house will be gone by Monday, too. You should probably give your mother a heads up." Michael sank to the floor, clutching his head. "You've really lost it. You know my mom. She's going to flip out when they take that stuff away. Cancel it. Now." "No. There's a price to pay for forging my signature. And one more thing. Starting tomorrow, all the monthly subscriptions charged to my card will be cut off. Those expensive supplements your mother and sister love so much. You can buy them with your own money from now on." Stunned by her cold, final declaration, Michael could only stammer, his mouth opening and closing without a sound. That night, Hannah packed her last few boxes. The closet held only Michael's clothes. In the kitchen, only the pots and pans she had bought herself were packed away. "I'm only taking what's mine. There isn't a single penny or a single object left for you." As she taped up the final box, Hannah whispered to herself, this wasn't just a separation. It was surgery, a procedure to excise the parasites from her life. The following Tuesday, Hannah carried her last box out of the house without a single look back. Now, it was their turn to scream in hell. At the airport departure lounge, Hannah stood before the gate, pulling her carry-on suitcase. The boarding pass for a flight to Hawaii trembled slightly in her hand. Not from fear, but from the sheer thrill of liberation. Just 1 week. A week, all to myself. To just rest. Hannah murmured this to herself as she sat down in the waiting area. The years she had spent cleaning up after her in-laws, never having a single day of peace, flashed before her eyes like a movie. She took out her phone, about to switch it to airplane mode, when it began to vibrate violently, like it was having a seizure. It was her husband, Michael. Hannah glanced at the name on the screen and let out a cold, humorless laugh. When she didn't answer, a series of sharp, angry text message alerts shattered the quiet of the lounge. "Pick up the phone now. I'm not kidding. It's urgent." Hannah read the message and shoved the phone deep into her purse. A moment later, it rang again. This time, it was her sister-in-law, Megan. With a sigh, deciding to give her one final warning, Hannah answered. "What is it?" "I'm at the airport, so make it quick." "Hannah, where are you? Are you crazy? Mom's credit card was just declined at Nordstrom, and she's making a huge scene at the checkout counter." Megan's voice was trembling, on the verge of tears. Hannah's reply was calm and detached. "And how is that my problem? Whether she's embarrassed at a department store or not is something for you and your mother to handle. How is it not your problem? You're the one who cut her off, aren't you? Turn it back on, right now. Mom's blood pressure is through the roof. She's about to faint. I didn't cut her off. I simply took control of my own finances. You all seem to be having a lot of fun shopping with someone else's wallet, but that game is over now." At Hannah's firm words, Megan let out a sound that was closer to a shriek than a cry. "Hannah, how can you do this? Don't you know today is the payment date for Mom's health supplements? If it doesn't go through, the shipments will stop. And what about the installment payments for my handbag? Then pay for it with your own card. Or ask your wonderful brother to buy it for you. If you don't have the cash, you shouldn't be buying things. Why are you telling me what to do with my money? Where am I supposed to get the cash? You've always paid for everything before. Why are you doing this all of a sudden? You should be responsible for this." "Responsible? That's a funny thing to say to the person whose name you use without permission. I have to go. My flight is boarding." The moment Hannah hung up, her phone rang again, this time with a call from Michael, practically exploding with fury. "Hannah, where are you? Are you really going to do this?" His first words were not of concern or apology. They were only about money. What is it? Did the credit card payments not go through? Sending your entire family into a panic? That's not yes. Nothing is going through. Why did you block the cards? Doing this without saying anything makes me look like a fool in my social life. It's my card, so I can do as I please. And why are you conducting your social life with my credit card? Did any of you ever bother to consult me before you spent my money? It's family. We can share things sometimes. Mom and Megan are at home crying their eyes out right now. Just turn the cards back on. Just for today, please? No. From now on, you're on your own. There will be no more free money for any of you. Hannah ended the call abruptly. Immediately, a flood of texts, a mix of insults and desperate pleas, poured in. Please, just pay the $380 for Mom's supplements. We're getting past due notices for the water filter rental. The retrieval team for the massage chair is here, and Mom is losing her mind. Call them now. Hannah read each message, calculating the amounts that used to drain from her account every month. The supplements, the water filter, the massage chair, a fixed total of over $1,100 a month. And today, it had all been cut off at once. The host's blood supply to the parasites had been severed. Putting her phone away, Hannah listened to the boarding announcement. As she walked toward the gate, she realized something significant. Her mother-in-law, Susan, had never called her directly. She was using Michael and Megan as her attack dogs to harass her, too proud to lower herself. It's all about her pride, Hannah thought. She'd rather die than bow her head and ask her daughter-in-law for anything. Susan coveted her daughter-in-law's money, but considered humbling herself before her a fate worse than poverty. Once on the plane, settled in her window seat, Hannah turned her phone off completely. As the aircraft powerfully lifted off the runway, she felt a sense of liberation she had never known. It was as if a massive boulder that had been crushing her shoulders had finally rolled away. Arriving in Hawaii, Hannah checked into a small seaside villa and stepped out onto the balcony. The soothing sound of the waves tickled her ears. It can be this quiet, she thought. It feels so good not to hear those hellish screams. There were no phone vibrations, no demands for money. That night, for the first time in years, Hannah fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. There were no nightmares, no suffocating anxiety, just perfect, uninterrupted rest. Meanwhile, back in their suburban home, chaos reigned. Susan paced the living room like a caged animal, seething with a rage she couldn't contain. That insolent brat. How dare she cut off her mother-in-law's card? After everything I've done for her. Mom, calm down. Michael will figure something out. Megan fretted, though her real concern was herself. But what am I going to do about my credit card payment right now? Susan slammed her hand on the dining table. And what is that fool Michael doing? Tell him to grab her by the hair and drag her back here right now. But neither Michael nor Megan had any way of contacting Hannah. Her phone was off, and the locks on the condo, which she had changed, were impenetrable. It was only then that Susan finally understood. Her daughter-in-law, Hannah, wasn't just angry. She had truly abandoned them. Yet, even in this dire situation, the thought of apologizing to Hannah never crossed her mind. All she felt was a burning fury that her comfortable life had been destroyed. So, she wants to play hardball. Does she? Just let her come back. I'll make her regret the day she was born. Susan ground her teeth and shadowboxed the air. But Hannah's wallet was sealed shut, and the tidal wave of her revenge was poised to swallow them all. On her fourth day in Hawaii, Hannah sat at a corner table in a cafe overlooking the ocean and opened her laptop. The waves outside were peaceful, but Hannah's fingers on the keyboard were firm and decisive. She typed a short, clear text message to her husband, Michael, and hit send. Effective today, all family use of my bank accounts and credit cards is permanently terminated. Do not touch my money again. The moment she sent it, she felt a profound sense of release, as if a heavy weight that had been clogging her heart had been washed away. There was no need for long explanations or desperate pleas. Less than 10 minutes later, her phone rang frantically. It was Michael. Hannah took a calm sip of her coffee before answering. Hannah, what is this? What do you mean, terminated? Are you out of your mind? Michael's voice was practically exploding with rage. Hannah replied in a cool, steady tone. It means exactly what it says. My money, my accounts, my cards. None of you can use a single penny of it anymore. Is this something a family does? How can a wife betray her husband and his family like this? You've completely lost it. Family? Does a family steal from my pockets without my consent to buy designer bags and play the role of the dutiful son? Does a family scream at their daughter-in-law to get out? You people didn't treat me like family first. So why should I be the only one bound by the obligations of one? Mom was just angry in the moment. You know she didn't really mean for you to leave. Why have you become so petty? Hannah let out a hollow laugh at Michael's shameless excuse. Whether she meant it or not doesn't matter. I'm just doing exactly what she told me to do. I'm in Hawaii right now. Don't bother looking for me. Just worry about yourselves. Hawaii? By yourself? You are completely insane. Get on the next flight back here. Megan and Mom are in hysterics because none of the bills are getting paid. Let them be hysterical. It's none of my business. In fact, it's quite peaceful from over here. Hannah hung up before Michael could finish his tirade. She then turned her attention back to her laptop, pulling up the list of all their household utilities and automatic payments. The electric bill, the water bill, the gas bill, and even Michael's and Megan's cell phone bills. All of them were being parasitically drained from her account. This one's in his name. That one is her responsibility. With a few clicks, Hannah's name was cleanly wiped from every utility account. Next on the list was insurance. She saw that she was paying a hefty premium for a life insurance policy, with Michael listed as the sole beneficiary. A cold smile touched her lips. She immediately called the insurance company and had the beneficiary changed to her own mother. The beneficiary change has been completed, ma'am, the agent confirmed. Hearing those words, Hannah took a quiet pleasure in watching her husband's name being systematically deleted from her life. She canceled every automatic transfer set up for family events and holiday expenses. Finally, she felt like her accounts were settled. At the same time, back in their suburban home, Susan was on the phone with relatives, loudly lamenting her situation. Can you believe it? That daughter-in-law of mine wrecked the house and then just ran away. She blocked all the cards and won't answer her phone. Have you ever heard of such a thankless creature? Oh my, really? I've heard kids these days are something else. But that's just terrible. You must have spoiled her rotten. Her relatives chimed in, fueling Susan's self-righteous anger. But while Susan was loudly playing the victim, her daughter Megan sat in the corner, pale and clutching a credit card statement. What am I going to do? This month's bill is over $5,000. The installment payments for the handbag I was going to put on Hannah's card all got transferred to mine. Megan's hands trembled as she punched the numbers into a calculator. The designer bag, new shoes, her son's private tutoring fees, it was an insurmountable amount. She cautiously approached her mother. Mom, I need your help. My credit card bill is huge this month. If I can't pay it, my credit will be ruined. Where am I supposed to get money? You pay for your own bills. Susan snapped, pushing her away. I'm about to lose my massage chair and water filter. I have my own problems. Megan was stunned. Mom, the cosmetics and supplements you asked me to buy are on this bill too. You use it a lot. How can you just ignore it? You gave those to me as a gift out of filial duty. The person who gives the gift pays for it. Why are you asking me? Go ask your brother for the money. Megan desperately called her brother, Michael, but was met with a barrage of angry curses. Michael, I need to borrow some money for my credit card bill. Just $5,000? Are you crazy? Because of Hannah, I'm now stuck with the mortgage and all the utility bills. I'm drowning here, so stop bothering me. Michael slammed the phone down, and Megan collapsed to the floor in tears. The luxurious lifestyle she had enjoyed, using Hannah's wallet as an endless fountain of cash, had come to an end, and the bills were now coming back to haunt her in the form of collections notices. The next day, the credit card company began bombarding Megan with calls about her maxed-out account. Her elegant, carefree life instantly devolved into a muddy mess. Back in the cafe in Hawaii, Hannah closed her laptop and took a long drink of her iced Americano, gazing out at the ocean. Finally, my life has clear boundaries. She no longer needed to check for their frantic calls. The numbers in their empty bank accounts spoke for themselves. Hannah savored the peaceful afternoon sun, quietly plotting the next stage of her revenge. The real war, she knew, would begin the moment their true, desperate nature was fully exposed. A month flew by in a flash. After a restorative vacation in Hawaii, Hannah returned and settled into her new studio apartment near her office. Though it was less than half the size of her former condo, this space was a true sanctuary, filled only with her presence and her taste. I never knew a meal eaten alone could taste so sweet. It feels so good to breathe freely. Hannah sat at her small, one-person dining table, enjoying a simple bowl of soup. On the table was just the soup and a side of kimchi, but it felt 1,000 times more satisfying than the lavish feast she used to force down under the watchful eyes of her in-laws. Just then, her phone rang loudly. It was, of course, her husband, Michael. Instead of answering, Hannah calmly checked the text message he had sent. Did you know? Mom has stopped going out completely. She's even skipping the family reunion this week and says she won't go to any more family events. Do you know this is all your fault? Hannah read the text, let out a hollow laugh, and took a spoonful of her soup. This was exactly what she had expected. Once the money dried up, that oh-so-important social standing of hers couldn't be maintained, could it? Susan had always been the one at family gatherings and social events dressed in the most expensive clothes, the first to pull out her wallet to pay the bill. She had built her reputation on her daughter-in-law's money, bragging, "My son is so successful, this is nothing to us." But now, without Hannah's credit card to back up her bluffs, she was hiding from the public eye. At that same moment, the scene in her in-laws' living room was utterly pathetic. Susan, wearing a faded bathrobe, sat listlessly on the sofa, mindlessly flipping through TV channels. Her daughter, Megan, watching her cautiously, spoke up. "Mom, did you forget about Aunt Carol's birthday party this week? All the cousins will be there. Are you really not going?" "I'm not going. I'm tired and not feeling well." "You go," Susan replied dismissively, avoiding eye contact. "But you skipped your best friend's son's wedding last week, too," Megan pressed. "People keep asking if something's wrong. It's embarrassing. How long are you going to hide in the house? You need money to show your face in public. You want me to go empty-handed and be humiliated? And what about you? Aren't you getting collection calls about your credit card debt? What are you doing talking about parties?" Susan yelled, startling Megan into silence. An icy quiet fell over the room, and Susan angrily threw the remote control aside. A few days later, a concerned aunt called Susan. "Susan, what's going on with you? You're not answering your phone. You're not coming to any gatherings. Everyone's worried." "Oh, it's just the change of seasons. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. I'll call you when I'm better." Susan tried to brush it off, but her sister's questions grew sharper. "Susan, be honest with me. Is everything really okay with your daughter-in-law, Hannah? I heard from a friend of a friend that Hannah packed her things and left, and that you screamed at her to get out in front of everyone. The rumor is spreading like wildfire." Susan's face turned ashen. Who? Who told you that nonsense?" "She just went on a trip to clear her head," Susan insisted, but her sister's voice was firm. "A solo trip for over a month? Susan, there are no secrets in this world. The people who were at that birthday dinner have loose lips. They all heard you scream, 'Get out of my house.' And they all know that house is in Hannah's name. Everyone is saying you've lost your mind." Susan, speechless, hung up the phone, but the rumors had already taken on a life of their own. Her carefully crafted image as a graceful and benevolent mother-in-law had been shattered, replaced by the reputation of a shameless woman who had exploited her daughter-in-law for money and then kicked her out. Michael was also on pins and needles at work. His colleagues were starting to give him strange looks. During lunch, a junior colleague he was close with spoke up hesitantly. "Sir, I don't mean to pry, but are you and your wife separated? My friend is acquainted with your cousin, and I heard that your mother kicked your wife out." The food in Michael's mouth tasted like sand. "It's just a small misunderstanding between them. It will all be resolved soon," he said with a forced smile, but he could see the pity in his colleague's eyes. The devoted son image Michael had cultivated was crumbling. He was now being labeled as part of a family that had tried to steal their daughter-in-law's wealth and failed, leaving her homeless. Meanwhile, Hannah was exchanging warm text messages with her own mother, tears of happiness welling in her eyes. "My dear daughter, what did you have for dinner tonight? Should I send you some of your favorite side dishes?" Humming a little tune, Hannah replied, "Yes, Mom. I made a delicious soup tonight. Don't worry about me. I'm so happy right now. I'll come home this weekend. Can you make your famous meatloaf?" Feeling the warmth of her mother's love, Hannah finally understood. The false peace she had maintained by allowing others to live off her was nothing compared to the quiet dignity of standing on her own 2 feet. Watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of red, Hannah took a deep breath. The anger and resentment are all gone. All that's left is me. Freed from the heavy shackles of her in-laws, her spirit felt lighter than ever. The second act of Hannah's life, a life that was truly her own, was just beginning. 2 months later, a final call came from her husband, Michael. Hannah took a deep, shaky breath. hesitated for a moment, and then finally hit the accept button. She no longer expected to hear a kind voice. "Why are you calling? Is there anything left for us to say?" At Hannah's cold question, Michael responded in a tired, cracked voice. "Hannah, please, let's just meet one more time and talk face to face. This isn't something we should end over the phone. No, there's no need to meet. If you have something to say it now. Are you really going to be like this? It doesn't have to end in divorce. Think of all the years we've spent together. I was wrong about everything. Let's go back to how we were and start over. Please?" Hannah let out a hollow laugh at his pathetic plea. "Start over? To what? Back to that hellish life where your mother and sister used my wallet like it was their own? Or back to that shameless existence where you all disrespected my hard-earned money?" Michael quickly started making excuses. "I'll put a stop to that, I promise. I had a very serious talk with my mom. She promised she would never touch your card again. And you expect me to believe that? If they were the kind of people who could change with just words, they wouldn't have tormented me for 10 years. My position is unchanged. From now on, I alone will manage my assets. I have no intention of contributing a single penny to your or your family's expenses." At this, Michael's voice began to rise as his true colors showed. "You are unbelievable. We're family. How can you draw such a harsh line? You have no heart." "No heart?" Hannah retorted with a cold sneer. "The people who spent my money like water for 10 years without my consent are calling me heartless? What is family to you people? An ATM you can withdraw cash from whenever you need it? I wasn't your family. I was just a convenient source of money." Michael, at a loss for words, could only breathe heavily into the phone before finally asking in a trembling voice. "So, you're really going through with the divorce?" "Yes. I've already retained a lawyer, and the asset division statement is complete. You'll be receiving the paperwork from the court soon. That's all you need to know." At Hannah's resolute declaration, Michael hung up without another word. As the line went dead, Hannah let out a long, hot breath from deep within her chest. The suffocating chain of a toxic relationship was finally breaking. That evening, the atmosphere at her in-laws' house was like a funeral. Susan sat arrogantly on the living room sofa and summoned Michael and Megan before her. "So, that insolent brat is stubbornly insisting on a divorce?" Michael, his face etched with exhaustion, lowered his head. "Yes, Mom. Hannah has completely made up her mind. She won't even listen to me anymore." Susan crossed her arms and snorted. "Oomph. I knew she was no good from the start. She leaves the house just because her mother-in-law scolds her a little, and now she's destroying her own family. Who does she think she is to cause such a scene?" "Mom, honestly, from Hannah's perspective, she has a right to be upset. It's true that we spent too much without telling her," Michael mumbled meekly. Susan's eyes widened in fury as she screamed, "Too much? Everything I did was for the good of this family. I bought things to take care of my health, so I wouldn't be a burden on you kids. Is it a crime for a mother-in-law to use some of the money her daughter-in-law earns to look after her health? We don't need someone in this family who doesn't even understand her basic duties." Megan, fidgeting beside them, said in a barely audible voice, "Mom, we still should have gotten her permission. I can't even afford my credit card bills now. You too. What kind of permission does a mother-in-law need from her daughter-in-law?" The discipline in this household has completely fallen apart. As Susan was raging, her cell phone rang. It was her closest friend from her social circle. Forcing a cheerful tone, Susan answered the phone. "Oh, Sandra, what's up?" "Susan, don't forget the couple's gathering this Saturday. I've already made reservations at the hotel buffet. You're going to bring that new designer bag your daughter-in-law got you, right?" Instantly, Susan's face went pale. She didn't have the money for her daily expenses, let alone the funds to maintain her image at a social gathering. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I haven't been feeling well lately. You guys go on without me this time." "Oh, you missed the last one too. Is something wrong?" "To be honest, there are some bad rumors going around, and I was worried. I heard your daughter-in-law, Hannah, left home. The story is that you kicked her out in front of everyone." At her friend's direct question, Susan felt like she couldn't breathe. "What are you talking about? That's a misunderstanding. Hannah just went to her parents' house to rest for a bit. Who's spreading such nonsense?" "A misunderstanding? Everyone who was there saw it. What misunderstanding could there be?" "Susan, I never thought you were like that. People were saying you were living high on the hog thanks to your daughter-in-law, and then you just throw her out like that. Everyone has been avoiding my calls." Burning with shame, Susan slammed the phone down. Her hands were shaking, and her vision went black. How dare they laugh at me? They have no idea who I am. Susan flew into a hysterical rage, throwing sofa cushions around the room, but her ruined reputation was beyond repair. Megan escaped to her room and opened a desk drawer. It was overflowing with overdue credit card bills, some marked with final notices. What do I do? The payment is due tomorrow. Michael said he has no money and Mom won't help me. Am I really going to end up on the street? Clutching the statements, Megan burst into tears. The glamorous, hollow life she had built by maxing out Hannah's credit cards was collapsing around her in the most miserable way. A month later, Hannah stood in front of the courthouse. After the final mediation session, her expression was clearer and more serene than ever. Michael emerged with his lawyer, shooting Hannah one last resentful look. Did you really have to take it this far? I can't believe we've become worse than strangers. Instead of answering, Hannah simply gave a slight nod. Michael disappeared, muttering, "You're unbelievable," until the very end. But his words no longer hurt her. The mediation had ruled in her favor. Hannah was able to protect all the assets she had before the marriage, as well as the profits she had earned on her own. Michael's outrageous demands for a share of her wealth were all dismissed. Walking down the courthouse steps, Hannah looked up at the high, blue autumn sky. It's over. I'm finally free from this toxic cycle. Feeling the cool breeze, she walked to a nearby cafe. She opened her laptop and checked her stock portfolio. The numbers, representing her hard work and dedication, were smiling back at her in the form of beautiful returns. Now, this money was hers alone, no one could steal it, and no one could take credit for it. For the first time, without guilt or anxiety, she began to design a brilliant future, a future that was entirely for herself. Her quiet, yet most satisfying liberation was not about the money. It was the victory of reclaiming her self-worth. What do you think of this situation? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please leave a like and subscribe. We will continue to share similar stories with you.